Hey, bio team. So you've almost made it through week one of online learning, and you guys have actually done a lot already. 2 days ago, you guys went outside and you went and investigated what does it mean to be alive. And you took a bunch of pictures for me of things out inside of your neighborhood and around your house that we're living. I got a whole bunch of beautiful pictures of plants and of the grass, a little bit of bugs, some of people's dogs and cats, which were wonderful. Love pets. And I actually had one that was really cool. They told me about the cheese had bacteria in it, and I thought that was an awesome observation. And then yesterday, online, you guys watched a magic trick that we typically at the school would perform on day one of classes. So you saw two of my colleagues perform a trick where they poured water in a cup, turned it over another teacher's head, and then the water didn't come out. And I asked you guys to write down your observations of what you saw and infer, based on your observations, what had happened. You didn't realize this, but when you were looking at things outside, you were making observations too, right? They made an observation that it was bigger every time they looked at the plant. They've observed mom watering the plants. They observed the bug moving or their dog moving and getting older. So you made lots of observations, and we're going to continue to do that. And that's actually going to be the basis of the labs in our biology class, making observations, and then based on previous experiences in our life, we're going to infer what happened. And we're going to continue making observations and inferences on living things. I do want to go over some important things. All right, I wanted to go over some of the things you guys told me that you observed happen in the magic trick. And there was a lot of repeating things that happened. So the first thing people were telling me in our group conversation was that the person pouring the water squeezed the top. So she was squeezing the top of the cup, I believe, as she turned it over. Other people observed in the beginning only a small amount of water was put into the second beaker. So she didn't pour a lot of water. And then even not all of that water that she poured into the second beaker went into the cup. A third observation people made was they noticed that there was some kind of darker material at the bottom of the cup before she even poured the water in. And the fourth one was that Miss Doolin Smith picked up every white styrofoam cup except one. So there was two different inferences that I kept saying, but ultimately they kind of had the same conclusion. And that conclusion was that there was something absorbing the water or stopping it from coming out. So you guys inferred, based on previous experiences, that if you turn a cup of water upside down, that the water is going to come out based on gravity. You guys knew that magic isn't real, and so obviously something could be explained for where did the water go. All right? So I wanted to go over some of those key terms that we're going to keep using. What's an observation? An observation is anything that you do in our class or out in the world that uses your five senses. That's your sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Most of you guys, if not almost all of you guys, wrote down things about sight, what you saw. I didn't hear so much anyone saying what they heard happened to the water if it went into the cup. Obviously, you can't smell it through the computer and you can't taste it. So you guys gave me a bunch of qualitative descriptive words. You said that you saw that she was squeezing the cup. People said that they saw the color was darker at the bottom of the cup. Any of those descriptive terms when it comes to color or the look of texture, that's all qualitative. Quantitative would be talking about physical numbers. If we could actually measure how much water she was pouring in, or if you told me that she counted 4 cups or showed you 4 cups and a fifth one wasn't shown, that would be our quantitative observations. So this is important because we're going to move into our first lab. We're going to do a virtual lab starting tomorrow and moving into the beginning of next week. And your job is to use both qualitative and quantitative observations to tell me if you believe what the organism or this item that we're using is alive. You have on your Google site a new digital notebook that I gave you guys. I would like you guys to save a copy of that to your Google Drive. This way you could actually physically type right into that new digital notebook. So we're going paperless. And you could just kind of keep notes as you run through that lab. Your job is to tell me whether or not, at the end of this virtual lab that we do, whether or not you believe that yeast is alive using your qualitative and quantitative observations. You're going to take those observations from the lab and you're going to infer, is it living or not? Okay, so today run through all of the steps on today's Google site, and then I will see you tomorrow in our next virtual Google Meet. Have a good day, guys.